Sports fans, once again, the mega powers come together for a new edition of the uncensored, unfiltered sports talk here in the On the Money Sports Lounge, the epicenter of nostalgia mania. We come to you live for a new edition of On the Money Podcast, a fantasy football edition of On the Money Podcast, as we've got drafts only a couple weeks away. So it's time to break down all the good, the bad, and the ugly, talk about some of the things we like, some of the things we don't like, and some of the things that we think could potentially happen with some of these guys. As always, I'm one half of the Mega Powers of Podcasting. I'm Rational, and alongside me is none other than Oscar Old Money Muniz.
Sad couple 3 days, but I've already moved on.
I haven't.
What happened a couple hours ago?
I was going to let you get your introduction.
It's all over. I'm not worried about it. It is what it is. You can't go back in time. There's no little toy that you can use to go back in time and handle things. What was done was done. Ass beatings were handed. Brooms were swept. It is what it is. I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to make excuses. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, but we could have, should have, would have. We absolutely could have won the last two games. We absolutely could not win that first game, but we didn't win any three. So the only stat that matters is the stat on the left-hand side of the column in the standings, and we didn't get it done. We got a day off tomorrow. Come on, Fightins, let's figure this out.
Enjoy your day off, Phillies, as the Yankees come to town. Not only do they come to town and sweep the Phillies, they come through, they take over the stadium, take their lunch money. The stars showed up, and even some of the role players came out. Volpe had a home run yesterday, for crying out loud. Like, you had guys coming up to the plate, performing, doing their thing, and then you had another team in the Phillies that was doing a lot of hacking and a lot of striking out. And now Philadelphia radio is just been a joy to listen to, because
if you play for the Phillies, do not listen to 94.1.
We're talking about the sweep or the slap. No, we're talking about the sweep, which you could misconstrue for the slap, because that's what it felt like to be out there in person and to experience that. I don't know what I cherished more. I don't know if it was sitting in the 420s and being able to see all the pitches and all the home runs travel. I don't know if it was seeing the Philadelphia Phillies gathering their shit and leaving in the sixth inning of the first game because all hope was lost. I don't know if it was the Aaron Judge MVP chants that broke out all across Citizens Bank Park while we were there. So many great memorable moments. I was glad to be there for two games. Phillies, you can now have your baseball park back. We're done. We did what we had to do there. By the way, can anybody send an SOS? Was it they flashed the red light? Can you send one of those and find me Bryce Harper? I wasn't sure if he was in this series or not. I wasn't sure if that was him or just some guy hacking at every pitch. I don't know. I don't know if he knows that if he put the ball in play, you potentially could have won the game yesterday, and we'd be talking about a rubber match today and a 2-1 Yankees victory of the series. Nonetheless, we take the series. Phillies got to figure it out. Yankees have sort of found their niche at a point in time when the Phillies are kind of going backwards. Since the trip to London, it's been, 20 and 22? So that 1 week of messing up the rotation has screwed everything up down the line. But nonetheless, there's still a lot of baseball left to be played.
I mean, hey, the Yankees weren't looking so good, but they've turned it up a notch these last couple games.
The Boston series, it was right before we played you guys. We lost game one.
You guys
in
have
Boston,
lost like
and we
12 out of like 20, 12 out of like. Yeah. You guys we were both in the same situation, and you guys were the ones that
the Yankees
flipped the switch.
Yeah, we flipped the switch, but the thing is, the Yankees could have won game one against Boston. We lost that game. We won the next two. We're on a 5-game streak right now. The Phillies are on a 4-game losing streak, their longest streak of the season. 3 of those losses, I should say, courtesy of the New York Yankees. But, yeah, there was a bit of a slump. The difference between us was that the Phillies had not yet been humbled. The Yankees had been.
I don't think Oscar wants color red right now, but we rather talk Phillies or another podcast on Mikey's Giants?
Bring the brooms out. We only have a tidbit of information as far as the Giants go.
We're sharing pictures at people in their lowest moments.
We're showing
walks of shame, but don't worry. Don't you worry. I promise. October 28th, I'm gonna be showing a picture of a walk of shame too.
We're talking football,
where it'll be
folks.
three. It'll be lined up like the Three Stooges.
This is unfortunately, due to the new way of the MLB doing their scheduling, this is the only series where we face each other. There's no trip to the Bronx for the Phillies until next season. So the Philly-Yankee showdown has passed. The Yankees take the series, and now you move on to some of the other showdowns, like primarily what we're going to be discussing tonight as far as the NFL and talking football. You've got Giants and Steelers, which these guys are going to be going to.
That's so untrue.
Live in living color. Rivers over Roethlisberger. Classic staple of All the Money Sports since pretty much season one. It's going to be, was it October 28th?
October 28th, Monday. So with that whole situation, I already decreed in the group chat with Matt is here right now. His brother will back him up. And I told Alexi too. This coming weekend, the tickets are getting purchased. You're either going to buy what we found, or you're just not going to go. I'm not sitting here holding hands. It is what it is. I already lost some decent seats because we all wanted to say, let's wait. Now that we waited, instead of paying $257 a person, now we're going to be paying almost $305 a person.
We paid a nice
We paid a nice chunk too.
Sitting in the 420s.
It was going to be those tickets were going to be cheaper than what me and you paid, and Heather and Crystal when we went.
We the 420 seats that we had on Monday when we took the Phillies lunch money, they were a pretty penny. But the thing is, that was like 2.5-3 months ago. Like I was telling Heather, it's like if we would have waited to try to get that same spot.
I wonder what the tickets were for that day.
I don't know, man, because I feel like it was 3 straight sellouts.
It's like me and Alex
yesterday. Like, it was 44,000 out there.
Like right now, I got the top 100 playing in the background.
What up, Eric?
Me and Alex got into it today because I said people who are hurt shouldn't be on the top 100. I said Aaron Rodgers is in the top 100 and only played 3 snaps last year.
And will not be playing in the preseason.
So we put him in because he's Aaron Rodgers. I said, this shit reminds me of the year Peyton didn't play, and he was the number 50th player of the. And he goes, I would never do that. I said, I would never do that. It should be based on people who played. He goes, it doesn't matter. He's Peyton Manning. You got to put him in. He's great. I said, but he did nothing.
You got to remember, dog, we live in the age of projections and analytics. I know it's not what we're from, but they're going to make the list.
He goes, I will always play if I have to do that, Peyton Manning. I was like, why would you put a player who didn't play the entire year, who had no bearing on what was going on, instead of a player who was probably doing good, and we left him out because it's Peyton Manning?
Will Aaron Rodgers have top 100 numbers this season?
I'm slowly starting to think no.
Because the more we talk about this football team, the more I realize that it could go any type of way for them.
All right, so I got another person on my side on that.
I haven't seen the guy play for 2 years, and 2 years ago the product wasn't that great. What we got on the field as far as, Aaron Rodgers and his last, big hurrah with the Green Bay Packers. They were getting smacked around left and right by all the local teams. Tannehill went into Green Bay and
doing the list every year in itself. Rodgers played like a dookie 2 years ago. Then tore his, so no, he won't be playing well.
You guys know.
It's not the LCL, it's Achilles.
Man, we're in July. We're heading into draft season. It's all projections. Analytics
and not
numbers.
To start something on a different conversation. Phillip Brooks, a.k.a. CM Punk, was on First Take the other day, giving his, of course, they had him give his little Mount Rushmore, which was Steve Austin, Piper, Harley Race, Ricky Steamboat. They asked him about other sports, and, he's an avid Chicago Cubs. He's a real sports guy.
Chicago sports guy.
He goes, They asked, well, who's the GOAT in basketball? He said, it's very simple. It's Michael Jordan. And he's like, you don't think it's LeBron? He goes, I think Kobe Bryant's closer to Michael Jordan than LeBron.
There we go.
Woo! When I heard that, I was like, woo. I said, that's music to Elon's ears.
When you think about it, he's given his Mount Rushmore, but the top 100 in the NFL is similar to the Mount Rushmore conversation because you might feel like you have to put a certain guy
When
in
you
that Mount
shouldn't,
Rushmore,
even if they didn't
no
do
matter
nothing.
what.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't become your Mount Rushmore. It becomes what you think is the right Mount Rushmore, the politically correct
I'll
Mount
wait for them to
Rushmore.
prove me to do something before living to media hype.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of that football team. Like the closer that we get now, there's
Well,
potential
he didn't
for
rule out himself playing preseason games today for an article that I read. He said he's still thinking about it.
There's potential for Robert Saleh to get fired if this doesn't work out, or if Aaron Rodgers just doesn't feel like he's the guy, because they're still playing Simon Says as far as him. This team could potentially, dare I say, win the division or be in last place in this division. Yes, even a division including the New England Patriots. Like, they could go anywhere on the map. I'm sorry, bro. We're going to be having this discussion tonight about some of these fantasy players that we believe in and some that we think are hype. And one of those names to me, to kick it off, is Garrett Wilson. To me, Garrett Wilson, I know that's Mikey's darling right there, but I don't know, man. Like, I was
going to put him on my overhyped list.
I got to see it. So you were thinking about it too.
Yeah.
And it's more or less because, like, is it a situation where this player he's got us waiting? Like, if he's going to have that big, we're waiting for that big season from him. What if it doesn't happen? What if it doesn't come? What if what we see is the bar as far as him and his abilities and what he can do?
I'm waiting for Mikey to chime in because Mikey loves him.
To me,
whenever he gets a chance to pick him in fantasy, Mikey picks him. I mean, he's had good fantasy numbers overall, but they come in spurts if you really look at his games.
And who's the true wide receiver 2 out there? Like, who's the one taking the pressure off of you?
Like, a lot of his points in fantasy are spurts. They're not consistent right there, because there's games where he can go 3 games in a row and just give you 9-10 points a game.
And you could argue,
what can you do with 9-10 points a game in a fantasy league, especially a fantasy league if you play in one with bonus points?
And
that 10 points does nothing for those are kicker points in bonus point leagues.
And those are the weeks that you're going up against the
juggernauts,
Amon-Ra St. Brown of the world,
Sun God,
Jamar Chases of the world,
Jetta.
and Garrett Wilson gives you 7 points. We've all been there. Like, we've all been there, man. And you could argue it's Aaron Rodgers not being there. I totally get it, but if that's the argument, then we're back to the projections thing. Because last year, Garrett Wilson didn't really do much. If he's that good, why isn't he making the quarterback?
I wish I had the damn. You know?
Like, that's my whole thing as far as him. And
if I had my book,
stance.
I'd have all our stats laid right out every time we go look.
I had the magazine.
I don't know where the hell I left it.
I left it at the house because that's also going to be the magazine that I will be checking off names next month in a couple of drafts.
Next month? You mean starting tomorrow? August is tomorrow, people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my first draft is
Texans
August
Bears
18th.
tomorrow night, Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
No starters are playing to my knowledge.
No, Tyler Badgett is going to be the starter for the Chicago Bears.
I don't care. It's football.
Caleb Williams out there.
I like to see kids who are trying to make a team compete.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's a different dynamic, especially if you do dynasty football. You're going to see a lot of your taxi squad guys out there potentially getting some burn, and you could be able to see, like, is this guy worth holding on to, or did I just watch somebody lose their job completely right in front of my face in a shitty football game?
I think there's bets being taken.
Yeah. I was watching ESPN bet earlier, and they were talking about props for the Hall of Fame game. Which
Tyler Badgett might not be a bad I would take the over on the rushing yards for him.
You guys have at it. I'm good.
You're not going to use your home run money on that?
No, I'm good. I was already thinking about taking a mental health break, so you have at it. Don't be
make sure you download DraftKings Casino. Every Monday there's a popcorn thing. You click it.
Oh yeah, Heather put me onto it. Heather put me onto it. Yeah.
I had like $15 the other day. I mean, I ain't win shit because I got happy and bet hard on the first hand.
Heather put me onto the thing in DraftKings with the popcorn, so I'm always sure to collect.
DJ Moore getting paid, man. You saw that $110 million extension.
DJ Moore getting that broke when we were over at Citizens Bank Park. I was getting a bunch of sleeper notifications that, like, while I'm watching the game, it's also reminding me it's like football is really here. Like, I have baseballed the summer away, and
so
next thing you know, like this is all really happening right now.
I haven't really
coming together.
I haven't really talked football with my wife normally, like I'll do when I'm complaining about shit. It feels
refreshing though.
Yeah.
Like it feels sometimes the anticipation of football can sort of wear you out when football
It was a
actually gets
detox
here.
for me.
So like it was a very refreshing summer to truly like separate myself from football, immerse myself in baseball, but now football is right back around the corner again. And like I've been saying on the pod for a couple of weeks, it just feels like a fresh subject. Like this is our first real fantasy deep dive. And we got drafts a couple of weeks away. You know?
And next week we're doing division breakdowns already.
Are we? What did we agree to start with? Did we even agree yet? I gotta start thinking about these 8 teams. Like that, I already know I leave every podcast knowing what my homework is.
I had a notebook. I don't know where I left it at.
Did we really finalize that, or was that just woozy and wazy? You know how it is.
I might have been woozy and wazy.
Those last 5 minutes when we're trying to roll out, like the last 5 minutes, we just start throwing shit out there.
We just start saying
it becomes a creative control meeting, and we just start like piling some shit up that we're gonna give them next week, and the next week comes, and we might not even have time for all that shit, depending on what we're talking about. What's the over under on points? Take the over. I don't know. They're talking about taking the under on total first half points, which I think they said was like 15 and a half.
We completely ignore. I'm looking at the Facebook Messenger text group that the three of us have.
Yeah.
And the last known messages was the thing where I sent about the quarterback tiers, and before that was my old numbers back up when you lost your phone.
What up, Chris? Yeah, that was right. That was a freaking spectacle.
That was a nightmare.
What's going on, Chris? RJ, thank you guys for tuning in. As you can see, first 17 minutes of the pod, we're getting settled in. We talked a little bit of baseball. We're setting the table for the discussion that is going down tonight. Fantasy football, whether it be dynasty, whether it be redraft, some of the players we like, some of the players that we ain't particularly so fond of, some of the players that we think have potential, and also, like, here's one of these stigmas that has been happening for the last couple of years. I figure I'll ask you, I'll ask the public all at the same time. Are people still fading CMC due to the injury history? Like, are we still playing that game if CMC falls on your lap?
Some of us are. I mean, I'm still hesitant. I'm not gonna lie.
And then also it's like a double whammy where it's like, are you fading him because of the injury history, or are you fading him because you want to see how far down he can drop before you can pick him and feel like a genius? Like if you're at the 7th overall pick and Christian McCaffrey's just staring at you, do you let the guy next to you get him? You know,
if he falls out of the top 5 and I'm in pick 7 or pick 8 and he's there, I have a hard time not saying okay.
Chris, I have not yet. I am going actually tomorrow with Heather and my brother to go check it out. And then after tomorrow, I will be ready to give my theories and discuss it with everyone who has watched it. And I will still respect the code and not give out any spoilers because I know it's only been the first week.
Mikey thinks it was good but wasn't great. I'm not saying it's great, but I don't think it's good. I don't think it's just good. I think it was a really, really fun movie.
I will have my take on it at some point at 10:30 p.m. I'll be texting the Jersey Triad group chat with a little paragraph.
I just hope
a synopsis.
The only thing I'll say is I avoided the internet because I heard the rumors of Downey Jr. So I thought it had something to do with like the end credit scene in Deadpool, and it completely does not.
I avoided everything anyway. I didn't want to take the chance. I was watching a video where they started talking about Robert Downey, and then they mixed it into what's happening in the movie, and I was like, "Oh, all right,
time to get out of here."
Like first 4 minutes were gold. I got to get the hell out of here. I made a swift exit like the Phillies did in Game 1 on Monday.
Here we go.
Packing my shit, and I'm going home. There's nothing left to see here. I don't want to know anything else about
Listen, I think it's Mikey and Matt are the weird ones.
They thought it was okay. Maybe they were.
The cameos were amazing. The Easter eggs, if you picked up on them, were great. Yo, I'm gonna tell you, I thought the beginning of that movie was the funniest and greatest opening of a superhero. I loved it.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it tomorrow. Regal Cinemas. I'll see you there. I will see you there. Get the popcorn.
Text me when you're there watching it.
Raisinets in the popcorn.
Text me when it starts so that I can hit you up like 7 minutes into it and just send you the text I've been wanting to send for like a while.
Oh shit. Oh, Freddie's
Steelers
here.
And Titans are ass. And
Freddie,
what are the Cowboys?
Cowboys might not even have a quarterback next year, buddy.
Yeah.
You're going to pay CeeDee Lamb. You're going to trot out Trey Lance out there. Nonetheless, I appreciate you logging in as only you can. You usually come in hot.
The hit and run.
The quick hit and run by Freddie, bro. Appreciate you, man.
That's him looking at us on break and going, all right, time to get back to work.
It's fantasy season. We know that, everybody's schedules are different. It's just like with some of our group chats. Some of us are working late. Some of us are early risers. So you're taking over in the group chats on shifts, depending on what's going on. And if the team's losing, you may not be saying much. If you're winning, you're talking all the shit because that's just really like.
I know. I've taken the barrage of insults. I've been defending the honor while the rest of the guys are just silent.
Like we're Chad Gable and those other two guys.
Look who's here.
Mike D in the building. New York takeover of the pod here today.
Don't use that broom too much. The Giants usually get swept too a lot in the season.
Oh man, the baseball conversations have been so intense.
I know. I'm the one taking the barrage, and that's why I kept sharing the Captain America. I can do this all day.
Because with the bloody lip. After a while, it felt like when Bucky was just punching him in the face, and he was just like in the air. I was like, "Well, finish the mission."
I said I knew you would laugh at that because that's what it was.
Yeah,
I was getting Andrew disappeared,
he did
bro.
What little Jimmy does. He did what little Jimmy does.
Disappeared. Noli was just burnt from being so tired.
A lot of Phillies fans only know how to talk shit with a lead. I'm one of those guys that's going to talk shit whether we're winning or losing because I know I'm going to say something that's going to get you to talk shit back to me.
Yeah, I couldn't keep my sauce to this son of a bitch.
On Monday, I was having a field day because it was texting you guys talking shit and then looking directly to my side to one of my dearest friends who was a hardcore Phillies fan and just dragging this shit out the whole time. I was like, oh, there's still a lot of baseball left. It was the eighth. It was the eighth inning. There was no baseball left. There was nothing left. You could have sat anywhere in the stadium. At that point, you could have sat anywhere in the stadium. The Philly fanatic could have shot a hot dog out there if you were still allowed to have
that was mad disrespectful,
night.
Though. That picture of Noli, the walk of shame. Bro, that was mad disrespectful, bro.
I mean, he's taking it.
Like, damn, bro.
There's a walk of shame picture of him at Lambeau. I think there's one in San Fran, and then there's the newest one with the Phillies and the Yankees.
Yo, who needs Who needs enemies when you got friends like that?
Well, if your friends can fuck with you like that, nobody else in the outside circle could be. I mean, if you can't take it from the inner circle, then you're not going to be able to handle the real world out there because out there, nobody feels bad about the Philadelphia Phillies besides the Philadelphia Phillies themselves. They're wallowing in their sorrows. Figure it out with the PH. All right. I don't know. I know I'm doing True Legends. I know True Legends for sure. The other league, I don't even know if that league was even like existing still, but I'm definitely in and down for True Legends as always. Chris says, I feel like this year's rookies for fantasy have been harder to decide to pick than the past couple of years, in my opinion. I feel like we actually got a lot of gems.
Speaking of receivers, how does everybody feel Marvin Harrison's so high ranking?
It's scary.
I've been wanting to hear that from everybody about Marvin Harrison.
It's scary.
Where do you guys feel, and why do you feel that fantasy magazines all over, it's just not one magazine, it's multiple magazines and multiple shows that are putting him in like the top 10, maybe even top 5
in Dynasty?
There's some mock drafts like by the pros that we buy the magazines from that are putting him in the first round of a traditional PPR league.
Dynasty rankings right now, he's like in the top 6, top 5 as far as the wide receivers.
Well, how do you feel about? Because I'm uneasy about that. I don't see Justin Jefferson in him. I don't see Jamar Chase in him yet. I'm not saying he can't be, but there's so many available proven options out there.
I feel like
I would select before him.
I feel like he has the chance to be
Special.
everything that they say he is. But I also feel like he's not the only rookie wide receiver that's getting shot up the charts way ahead of their time. Malik Neighbors, I'm told, is, the second coming. Rome Odunze in a crowded wide receiver room I'm told, is the second best wide receiver, only to Marvin Harrison.
Worthy.
So I think
although it's starting to show that he's starting to have trouble getting off the line of scrimmage.
I think they all have the potential to be good wide receivers in the league, but I also think that it's a lottery of you're going to have to get it right. Whether you draft Harrison or Odunze or Neighbors, it's going to be one of those guys, and you're going to be grateful if it's your guy.
Okay, here we got some comments going. All right, Mike. From what I can gather, people are really high on the Cardinals' offense. They're everyone's this year's big sleeper. Their biggest falls as a team is their head coach and their defense. But offensively, they're expected to explode. I don't know why, but that's from everything I can gather. And from Chris, my point exactly, it's hard to get some of these guys because their rankings are where they want win to.
I want stock in the Cardinals offense this year. I have stock in the Cardinals offense this year. I mean, talking about them, I feel like my fantasy comeback player this year is none other than Kyler Murray. They're saying, he's
him as undervalued. In my category, I got Kyler Murray in my undervalued.
I think he's going to be forgotten this year. I think
you can get Kyler Murray probably in the 6th or 7th, not even in a traditional 12 team. I think you can get him probably in the 9th or 10th round, some people got Tua last year. I think he'll be this year's Tua.
In a 2-quarterback league, he'll go higher. But yes, I agree with you. In a 1 QB league, Kyler Murray is going to be one of those names where if you didn't pick a quarterback yet and you're setting up the foundation with your wide receivers and your running backs and they're strong, and you get a guy like that, and he puts up those numbers that he puts up in September, and everybody remembers, oh shit, Kyler Murray can play football. You're going to feel very, very good. And then you're going to have to play that game with yourself because we've seen this movie before. Kyler Murray has a hot 8-9 weeks. He gets hurt. So you got to know when you got to ride, you got to ride the hot hand, and you got to know when to
you got to make sure you got a solid backup.
You got to know when to jump off. But I expect great things for Kyler Murray. I expect great
Kyler
things
Murray might be a guy you sell high before the trade deadline.
And not just because of Marvin Harrison and him, but Trey McBride as well, who is an essential part of what that offense is going to be. And Trey McBride potentially being a top 3 tight end, sitting at the same lunch table with the Sam Laportas of the world,
Laporta is going to be the top tight end in the league this year.
Definitely going to be,
I hope everybody keeps picking Travis Kelce first and leaving Laporta there still.
It's funny because we just talked about how high Marvin Harrison is in the projections, but he comes from an offense of fantasy pieces that are pretty underrated. James Conner is a value pick at running back at RB2 when you need to get your RB2. You've got
He's
guys
flex worthy every week.
It's not a sexy name, but Greg Dortch, there's young players.
James Conner's healthy. He's a good flex.
Yeah, and he could get 1,100.
You can get him late too.
Trey Benson. You've got Michael Wilson from last year. People really forgot about the Cardinals because of how messy their situation was.
And Kyler didn't come back till the end of November.
There are a lot of
played
pieces.
The last month of the season. Didn't have that bad of it. A couple games. I don't know. I just feel like Marvin Harrison is way too high on the rankings.
Yeah. I feel like that about all these receivers, but that also leads me to believe, what I was saying earlier, you have to hit on whichever receiver you draft. You have to hope that's the guy. If you can't get to Harrison, you grab a Dunze or Neighbors and hope they're the ones, because one of those 3 kids is going to break out this year. Depending on everybody's situation is different.
I know who's throwing the Dunze. Who's throwing the Neighbors?
You really just asked that question. You really just asked. Mikey, this wasn't me, bro. You saw me. I'm in depth with it, bro. I'm keeping it professional on this podcast tonight. All right, I got my jollies, bashing the Philadelphia Phillies, and I was ready to move on. What he just did right there, I don't even remember what I was gonna say next. Just completely threw me off the rail with it. It wasn't me, Mike. It's talking about me trying to act like the nice guy. I literally look. My hands are up. I did not. We didn't talk about that.
I just want to know who's going to throw him the ball.
So like I was saying, all
Dito's
these
right.
wide receivers.
Dito, who's gonna throw him the ball? Dito.
All these wide receivers are in different situations. Malik Neighbors is in a situation where he could potentially be the primary target on an offense that's going to have to figure out what they're going to do to move the chains.
Cards sound like a good team for Coach Belichick to take on. Food for thought. What up, fellas?
What's going on, Christian?
Neighbors
Football's
will be your breakout rookie this year. Oh, gosh.
Out of all the wide receivers?
Are we sure that's Mikey saying that or Matt? Because that's really optimistic.
I like Neighbors. I may not like a lot of the things that are happening around him, but I like Neighbors. It's just, the question you asked is the question that I think a lot of people, including Giants fans, are asking themselves. Hearing things are a little rough right now in training camp for Danny Dimes.
I know you shared that.
Nonetheless.
Because we're always twisting Hard Knocks, right?
I didn't make that post. I'm just sharing the information. I share the information the same way information is shared to me when the Yankees are stinking up the joint and I'm getting all the stats. So I throw a couple stats out there because everybody loves stats. Everybody loves stats, right? Unless it's about their team, and then you're twisting everything around. But all I'm saying is I like Malik Neighbors, might not like his situation. I like Rome Odunze. I'm heavily invested in Rome Odunze. I have him on both my dynasty teams. But there's also that part of me where I kind of have him in the hype category. I'm saying to myself, is he going to come out and steal the show, or is DJ Moore potentially going to have
Neighbors been lighting
an
it
amazing
up.
year?
Him and Banks are going to be great.
Iron sharpens iron.
Whoa. Go get your own quotes. Stop stealing quotes from my team.
With Keenan Allen.
Go squash some grapes.
With what's going on out there, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, there's a few mouths to feed out there.
I put Cole Kmet as overvalued.
Okay. Overrated? Overvalued?
Well, not overrated. I think he's going to be picked high, and I don't think the production's going to match it when people pick him in fantasy.
People are going to treat him like he's that sneaky draft pick. They're going to be
I feel like he might get picked too high up in the sky.
I'm not trying to draft Kelsey or Andrews type of guys, but it's one of those things where I'm going to pivot to Kmet here in the sixth round. And it's just
I could see it. I could see him being the third or fourth tight end taken off the board.
Chris says that quote's all over the world.
Sure.
So, to be determined if the Steelers made that quote up or not. We know about the grapes one. We know about that. We can confirm that.
Let me stop. I'm not gonna.
But
I'm gonna take my lumps.
We're getting.
I'll
videos.
dish out late next week if we do the East first.
We're getting these videos of Caleb Williams. I saw a video today of a great pass he had to Rome Odunze. Rome Odunze, standing out at practice.
And remember, guys, it's football in shorts.
Yeah. It's overreaction time more than ever because we haven't had any games. We have nothing to work
good
off
throws
of.
and bad throws. That's what training camp is for, tough guy.
You better have more good ones than bad ones. I'm on a heater. All the bets that are made against me in the baseball
I missed
chat,
a bet.
I don't
what
lose.
happened?
Which bet?
Did Noli join in on the Dimes versus
No,
Levis matter?
He was thinking about it. It was no official bet was made.
Okay.
No official bet.
Because y'all were going too crazy where I just said I gotta concentrate on work.
The only bet that was finalized was between me and Noli. It was the bet we made months ago, Phillies versus Yankees, and I already cashed out. We're all good. Won that bet. We got the bet that's going down. Levis versus Daniel Jones, total touchdowns. So
that's a combination of passing and rushing, right?
Total touchdowns. And getting benched doesn't save you from the competition. It's the total touchdowns at the end of the year. That's the other bet that I've got going on. And then I have the AL East divisional bet with Noli and myself. Orioles, Yankees. That's all I've got right now.
Okay.
Yeah. And a couple home run bets that I'm hoping cash tonight. A couple of those and that's really it. But, as far as making a bet with these rookie wide receivers, you're really taking that gamble on those top three. And you're saying to yourself, I hope it's this guy. And when you finally see, if we see Marvin Harrison looking like that guy, we see the Cardinals surging with an explosive offense and this kid getting 2 touchdowns in a game, or we see the Chicago Bears with Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze having that connection.
I think he's gonna target his receivers a lot more than he's gonna look at Kmet. That's why I think Kmet's being overvalued. I think they're looking at it because tight end is the rookie's best friend. but there's so many offensive weapons on this team that he truly doesn't have to pay attention to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're getting so close to football now that I'm at that point where some of the things that I was thinking at the end of June and the beginning of July, like my thoughts can be swayed in the other direction. Like it's one of those times of year where you see things, you hear things, you're looking at things. There's one thing for certain: the guys that are getting
basically, as long as someone calls back and gives you the chance to think it over, you're willing to listen, right?
Man, I am all about patterns, and there are patterns that I've been following. One, for instance, is it's looking like Quentin Johnston, another one of Mikey's darlings, is taking the backup role because one of my sleepers, and yes, a lot of the sleepers I have are guys that are on my dynasty team because I made it a priority to try to acquire as many sleepers as possible. This kid I drafted, Ladd McConkey, is out there taking people's jobs, taking over the wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 position.
Yes, he is.
It's looking like it's going to be Ladd McConkey and Joshua Palmer on the other side. And then you get in where you fit in, on top of the fact that Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins both taking first-team reps. So they're trying to, spread the ball and give Justin Herbert as many options as possible as far as where he can dump the ball off or where he can go deep. But that rookie might be that bolt of lightning that the Chargers have so desperately needed with the new look Chargers and the head coaching situation. Like that's one of my sleepers that if you are paying attention.
Well, I have Justin Herbert is undervalued right now.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of people probably
it's been a
checked
rough,
out on him.
It's been rough.
The rookie
it's been
year.
rough.
I think this year he has a nice bounce back year coming off that injury.
You got to remember, some of these players work themselves down.
Harbaugh's going to scheme him up to make sure he's, not getting hit. I think he's going to have a big season.
You got to remember, Justin Herbert was a high priority pick at one point, and a couple bad years, you fall down the chart, and now you can be a bargain.
You could probably get Justin Herbert into the 8th or 9th round, and traditional.
Last year, in South Jersey Brawlers, the league that I have 5 combined wins in 2 seasons.
Oof.
Last year I got Justin Herbert in the 7th round. It was a 1 QB league, and he was still sitting there, and I love the value. It wasn't a great season for him, but I also had Nick Chubb on that team. I had Aaron Jones on that team. I had Christian Watson on that team. I had Jerry Jeudy. So, it was just a lot of things.
Bad year.
Yeah. Yep. Right after the draft, everything went downhill.
You've been threatened.
Chargers need a tight end bad. Yeah, I don't even know who their tight end 1 is in Los Angeles.
I've seen you've been threatened.
Rick is saying that he
has to come out of retirement.
Rick is ready to come back out of retirement and claim his spot if I have another bad season. The spot that he gave to me, the Arn Anderson spot. I'm Kurt Hennig and he's Arn Anderson. He said if I do terrible again this year, he is going to reclaim his spot.
Oh.
I guess making the decision for me.
Are you in any fantasy league with him?
Not
football-wise?
I don't think so.
It's just baseball-wise, right?
It's the baseball league we're in. We're in a basketball league together. I don't think we did a football. I saw something come up on Yahoo, but I don't remember being a part of that league last year. I don't. And if I was not setting my lineups. I don't know. I saw something. It says Beer Money Avengers, so I made that name for something. I think I was playing something at some point last year, but we are not in any football leagues that I know of right now. I got his spot in Brawlers. That's going to be my first draft of the draft season, August 18th. 1 quarterback league. I have the 10th pick, so I'll be getting the back-to-backs at the end of the draft. You kind of watch the board play out. You get to see who this year's new number 1, number 2 picks are going to be. Is it still Justin Jefferson, or are people riding the Jamar Chase, train as far as thinking he's going to be the guy?
Mm-hmm.
How far up the chart does the Sun God go? That's one thing me and Mikey definitely agree on. Like we love Amon-Ra St. Brown. We're a Lions positive podcast. Like we love the Lions. How many leagues is everyone in? I want to say 8. I want to say it's 8 from the 12 that I was in last year. Pretty sure it's 8 unless I'm forgetting one.
5.
Dropped 4.
I wasn't 8. I was able to get out 3.
It was tough, man. It's
hard.
harder
It's hard to say goodbye.
Yeah, it's harder to leave a league than it is to join a league.
Yes, it is.
You can join a league in seconds, and you could spend weeks agonizing a decision, especially if the dates don't match up, which is sadly what happened this year. And I had to leave one of my favorite leagues.
Yeah.
But it's just you only have so many weekends.
It was sad to say goodbye to that league.
I'm in 8, but that can
hope
change.
he just
All right, no, don't let it just stay in 8. Just stay in 8.
Yeah, stay in. Yo,
you know,
I've been trying to break it down because, dude, I'm trying to concentrate. I got too many. When I had those 8 teams last year, it was just so much going on that 2 to 3 of my other teams just had to be sacrificed.
On Sunday mornings, you got to get up at 8:30.
Tough. I can't.
You got to get up and just take
I got my regimen already during football season.
Bro. It's tough.
Get up, take a shower, go have breakfast with the wife, go to Target, get our usual stuff, our pleasantries for the week, our lunch for the week.
You're good for like 4 leagues.
And then by the time we're
at 12,
done,
you start looking at your lineup. So 12 is enough time for you to be able to get your 4
You figure by
leagues.
11:30, I'm back home, and you guys like, yo, you home? Yeah, come through. And you see me when you're walking through. You're doing that now?
All the time. Oscar's always the last minute, but I do some of the same. And sometimes to my own
honestly, my last minute should be looking at bets. That's why I'm going to really try to concentrate this year to get all my – that's why I downsized because I just got to save the money. 2, I downsized because I'd rather have more concentration and not thinning out.
Right.
And 3, I want time for my bets.
There was definite – like I don't know if Mikey felt it. I think we might have talked about it before, but there was definite draft fatigue on my end. Like, I was in so many leagues, and I spent like 4 weeks straight every weekend just drafting on Saturdays and Sundays. And like, I just started like drafting the same guys just because I had them on other teams. You know, like I wasn't playing the board. I was like on like zombie mode because of how many drafts. You know, by the 9th or 10th draft, I'm what is it? The 6th round? Give me this guy. Like I just wasn't. I don't know. I'm just excited that it's a fresh subject. I stepped away from football, and now we're slowly stepping back into it. It's that pitcher that we got from the Padres I never heard of in my life.
Hell, at one point, maybe I should just draft this team and give it to him week 1. That way I can really get out. I feel like the guys from Get Out, like I'm being kept hostage.
Yeah, I'll never repeat what I did during the draft gauntlet. Yeah, because Mikey was drafting online.
Bro, Mikey was drafting here on the Money
he was
Sports.
Doing like 5 drafts.
Then he had his pad going, and then when we finished here and we did the True Money, he's doing True Money, doing the pad again. Then we did True Legends. He's still on the I think he did like 6 drafts in one day.
Yeah, one of those teams is so screwed up. Like they're so
because you can't concentrate. And then on top of that, it's not counting the booze you're drinking,
yes,
the bud you're smoking, the edible you're eating.
You're playing the odds,
and then on top of that, the food you're eating, like, and then the sidebar conversations that are going, like
the murmuring, of course.
You can't really focus, and then you start getting paranoid. Because you think
are these all the emotions that were running through you?
You start getting paranoid because who's watching what I'm doing right now? When cats are too close to me, and who's
looking at my notes?
I like to circle. I like putting like little dots or something on players I want to attack.
Yeah.
I feel as though when I do that, whoever's next to me ends up grabbing. I'm like, but you don't even know who the hell he is. How do you know who he is?
You got to take, like, just like in school, you got to take your folder and open it and then sit behind your folder. And while you're drafting, put it up like this.
Old school joint, yeah.
You just look around real quick, you peek, and then you go back into what you were doing until it's your turn to pick again. Nobody will know what's going on behind there. Nobody will have the faintest clue.
6 in one day, bro. That is wild, Mike.
I ought to pick Bijan Robinson for second pick in one of those leagues. I ought to pick a Bijan Robinson. It's freaking crazy. Yeah, it was exhausting, bro. That weekend, I think I did like 5 drafts, 2 Saturday, 3 on Sunday. By Monday, I couldn't remember where anybody was. Like, I had to keep looking at the same lineups because I couldn't remember which team was which.
Kadarius Toney and Nick Bolton both left practice today with injuries.
There you go. You know, some of you guys talk about the beer money boys gold jacket Hall of Famers. Like, bro, by the 11th draft, I was picking some of those same guys just because I was doing it before. So, give me AJ Dillon again. He's a solid hand.
That's
He's a
something I
solid
do
hand.
too. Like,
I just pick certain guys that you always
and then
pick.
I screw myself because then if I pick teams too similar and they suck, I'm hit in every league.
It's a bad Sunday. It's a bad
That's
Sunday.
why this year, like, I'm doing my research, I'm paying attention, I'm reading up, but I'm probably going to play the board.
Got to. We all remember.
I'm not going to sit there and go, damn, I want my guy. This is the guy I want in this round because he's probably not going to be there. No, but I got a better chance of doing this.
Fantasy pros told me that this is the guy to pick in this round. So regardless of what I want to do, I'm going to do what they told me to do.
Yup. I've done dumb shit like that before.
I'm gonna do this live auto pick for myself. That's another big thing too. And I already know what your answer is going to be, but I want to know, like, for the people that are watching right now, and I'm going to give my theory on it and why I think some people might prefer it one way or another. But it's fantasy draft season. Do you prefer the live drafts or the online drafts?
I'm always going to be a live draft, one, because it's not often in this day and age with everybody's work schedules that you can get your whole league together for a day. Sometimes
usually
that's the only day of the year
we see each other.
You get to see each other.
Yep.
And it shouldn't be like that. Because
rough, though.
us
Schedules
as humans, we're always on the go. We're always doing this. So I prefer that because of the catching up.
Bro.
You know, the camaraderie, the catching up. And just talking shit about, like, previous stories. And I also like the live draft because I feel like online drafts are easy for people who suck yearly.
You're playing ADP.
To finally get a good team. Because now you're looking at who's available, and pretty much ESPN or Yahoo's pretty much telling you what to take and where to take. So there's no strategy involved in your drafting.
Best available player. Which, I mean, a lot of
people
do.
So a team like that normally sucks turns into a good team. And then when you go back to the live draft the following year, they suck ass all over again. Because I've seen it and I've witnessed it. But I also understand the need of a live online draft too. Because, again, for all the points that I just pointed out for a live, go the opposite for online. Work schedules, not being able to get off.
Multiple leagues.
You're in tons of leagues. Sometimes you don't want to fatigue your other league mates. So you know what? You do the online draft because you know they can sit back home.
Yeah.
They can have, I
don't want to be doing an online draft while I'm at a live draft. Like, I want to be able to enjoy each one. If I'm doing it online, it's going to be like how we did for RJ's league, where you guys came and hung out, like we were all chilling, and that was going to be. That draft was the focus, like the draft fatigue thing is real, and it definitely, like, alters teams.
It was fun to hear everybody's point of view when they were picking people that had no business being picked, but they picked them, and each one's explaining it to me, like, why they did it. I'm like,
I prefer live drafts.
I was faded at that moment from that edible.
I prefer live drafts, but I also understand why some people don't, because when you actually have to go up in front of your league mates and you have to go pick the name, and you can't find the name, and you're scrummaging through the stick, and shit's falling off the table.
You start getting nervous.
You're breathing heavy.
Palms sweaty.
You're in leagues with multiple shit talkers. You got guys like
spaghetti.
You got guys like me and guys like Noli when you're going up to pitch. It's like, oh, come on, man. Like, just talking shit, making it worse. You're thinking the wide receivers are green, but
then the whole time you're hearing this, go ahead, pick the Titans guy. Go ahead, pick the Steelers guy. You know you want to do it.
Booing somebody as soon as they come up, ruining their concentration.
Yeah.
They were thinking the whole time who their pick is going to be. It's just, it's amazing. And then depending on what your draft party is, sometimes, just things get a little crazy. Shots are taken, and you don't remember who got picked. You're up there with your hands in your pockets staring at the board, just
talking about my team's good, and I'm going to beat you when I play you.
Oh, I like that team. Just have random people walk in and be like, yeah,
that team. Like, what do you know,
like
bro?
That team.
What do you know?
You never came back 100 points in a championship league, bro. You never did it. What do you like about that team? What is it?
I'll never forget when I picked Pat Mahomes last in the On the Money Sports League, and everybody was like, "What do you think of picking that guy?" I said, "We'll see." And that was the year I won my league.
Genius.
The first time I won my league, and that was me being retarded. That same league, that same draft, my number one pick was Le'Veon Bell, who never played the entire year. Yeah.
On the Money Sports League, 6th year playing in that league, my home league, the league that I have yet to win. My poor Wyatt family, we had it all last year. I had the Dolphins stack. A lot of you who had the Dolphins stack out there know that, man, Sundays were awesome when you had the Tua to Tyreek Hill connection. Sundays were, there was nothing to think about. You had your stack. You went about your day. You root for your normal team, and you go and look at what the Dolphins are doing. Oh, Tyreek Hill got another bomb, 50-plus bonus. Okay, I'll take it. 50-yard bonus for touchdowns all day. And unfortunately, the stack was broken by none other than the Titans themselves. We got in week 15, which is fantasy playoffs wildcard week, we got one half of the stack, which was just Tua.
It was the week before wildcard. I remember it because
when
Tyreek hurt himself that Monday night, and so he didn't play wildcard weekend.
But they played. It was the Jets game. They had that Friday game, right? It was that Friday.
No,
game.
that was Black Friday. When they played y'all, it was a week.
That was Monday Night
Football.
Football.
The Monday before the fantasy playoffs, and thanks to you guys,
effectively eliminated the best stack in football last year. Which leads to the question, like, what would be the best stack in football this year? You know, would it be a Detroit stack of golf and insert your name here? You know, like
Ross St. Brown. That's a great stack to have.
What would be this year's Tua Hill Miami Dolphins stack? Brock Purdy, Ayuk. Well, he ain't staying, right? He's gone.
Dak and CD.
Yeah. They'd probably be the number one stack. With
but
that
it
type
also
of like
be Tua,
firepower.
Tua and Tyreek will still,
still be making waves.
I think Tua, if you get the stack of Dak and CD, Tua and Tyreek.
Tyreek Hill, perfect example of it's never a wrong time.
I don't think Xavier Worthy
him.
As a rookie is worthy of me, no pun intended, of putting him up there with the Mahomes stack because I still need to see more. Yeah. I need to see something.
Yeah.
Burrow to Chase.
Yeah, that has the potential as long as the guys stay healthy, because that's one of those lingering issues that might make you want to fade certain players. Is
I got another one that can be not talked about, but could turn into being a good stack. Drake London and Kirk Cousins.
Well, not to sound like a homer, but all the reports coming out of camp is that Kyle Pitts was killing the 11-on-11s today. He was having himself a day out there on the field. And
if Aaron Rodgers plays the way Aaron Rodgers plays, him and Garrett Wilson.
Okay.
But Aaron Rodgers, his last healthy season, didn't look like a really good quarterback. He looked like an average quarterback.
Stafford Cooper Cup,
yeah.
Stafford Cooper. We forget about the older cats that they could still make it happen.
There's about 7 quarterbacks and 7 wide receivers that I would try my best to stack.
Yeah. I remember getting Tua in the 10th round last year.
I think
feeling amazing about that.
I think CJ Stroud and Stephon Diggs might be a crazy stack this year. Everybody keeps telling me that Diggs is going to be the number 3. For a while, I thought he might be number 3.
We don't know.
But now that I look at this roster and it's Stephon Diggs, I think Diggs didn't have the production he normally has because they were fading him out because I feel like they knew what they were going to do in the offseason. And I still think there was a rift between him and Josh Allen. And they went to that run-heavy offense. Excuse me. It doesn't mean he can't play. I think him and CJ Stroud are going to connect, and I think that's going to be a nasty duo. In which, speaking of Diggs and, his former quarterback, I have Josh Allen on my overvalued.
Interesting.
Fantasy pick.
See, I was going to make the turn.
I want to ask and say, who's wide receiver one? Nothing but slot receivers.
Well, here's my first
because
stack of the.
I don't think Keon Coleman is going to come up and light the world on fire.
I think he's going to be a sleeper. I think Keon Coleman is a sleeper. I've gotten to the point where I've bashed the Buffalo Bills so much on this podcast that I'm swaying in the opposite direction, where I'm saying to myself, like, why wouldn't Josh Allen have a productive year with the tight ends that he has? He got the running back situation figured out. And
Jones and Neighbors to the moon.
And if Keon Cole is who they say he is, and this batch of the young wide receivers are, they live up to the hype, like, the sky's the limit, because Keon Cole has no competition for targets out there.
Yeah,
besides the tight end. You got Knox and you got the other kid, the two tight end set that they got running. They're going to run a big offensive line.
I think, Alex Shakir's going to be a beast dog.
Shakir,
he's a slot receiver, bro. Guess what? Everybody's going to cover you. Like,
Shakir is the guy that, like, week 2 or week 3, he might get you like 45 points that week with 2 touchdowns, and everybody hypes him up, and then he don't do jack shit the rest of the year. And you're starting him on Sundays.
3 weeks he goes with nothing.
You're starting him across from DJ Moore, and you're getting absolutely destroyed trying to figure out why Khalil Shakir isn't living up to the hype, because he is not in the position where he's going to give you that production each and every Sunday. You can't fall in love with one Sunday.
About it, I feel like Josh Allen's taken a step back fantasy production-wise.
Oof.
And I'm not saying that because I have the 4th pick in the On the Money Sports League.
And you're hoping that he falls into your lap.
Because I already
will definitely draft him if he was
I know who I want, and he's not him.
The pick is in? The pick is officially? Okay. See, I got the number 2 pick. I'm looking to see what Alex is going to do, but I have a good idea of where I'm going to go with my pick. And,
Alex is either going Allen or CMC. He loves Allen. He'll never say a bad word about Allen.
Well, that's his quarterback in our dynasty.
Dynasty. Right? He loves him.
That's his dynasty QB. I ain't mad at it. I like Josh Allen this year. I'll be having some stock in Josh Allen.
I also think the Buffalo Bills aren't going to win that division this year.
Double whammies with the hot take. You got Miami taking it? Riverboat's
Buffalo jettisoned a lot of people, bro.
He did.
A lot of people, especially on defense.
It's like a rebuild without trying to say you're rebuilding.
Yeah.
And,
well, you can't say that because you paid this guy all that money as your quarterback.
Retooling.
So basically, you're telling him you need to be the reason why we win each and every week now.
They kind of try to do what the Eagles do a lot. Every 4 years, the Eagles kind of do it, where they kind of just recycle, try to get
That's
some
another
pieces.
Team that I'm interested to see how that plays out.
9-8, I already said it.
Because if Jalen Hurts doesn't produce the way, people want him to, if he does another year of 20 touchdowns and 12 picks and only 10 rushing touchdowns, like, bro, those are average quarterback numbers.
Well, you know what? Thank God they have Saquon Barkley now. Because when Jalen Hurts is out there not being able to read the coverage, you can just hand it off to Saquon. And Saquon Barkley has the potential to be.
I don't know why it's not picking up here, but Chris said, do you think Harrison Jr. takes away from McBride?
I think they're 1 and 2. Like,
and Rick said
one or the other.
Only the Phillies can make a dead guy like Lemo look all world.
DJ LeMahieu had 6
LeMahieu?
RBIs
Okay,
today.
that's how you say it.
DJ LeMahieu. Today was the first grand slam the Yankees ever hit on the Phillies in the entire history of both of our teams, 1883 and 1903. The last time that we hit a grand slam in Philly, they were called the A's. Well, I don't know who that team was, but
Philadelphia A's.
1954.
Grover Cleveland Alexander.
DJ LeMahieu today was DJ Judge. He went out there, smacked the shit out of the ball. So was Austin Hayes. Austin Hayes made me nervous every time he went up to the freaking plate. I was like, don't pitch to this guy because he's an Oriole and he knows how to hit against us. Like, stop pitching directly to this man. He's going to hit it out of the park, and he almost had a walk-off today. But him and DJ, like, the two guys that you really didn't expect to put on the show, because our 1 to 3 hitters were 1 for 12. Judge struck out 4 times. Walking around like a tough guy chewing his gum. And, him and Harper just were nowhere to be found for today's matchup. It was DJ LeMahieu and the Austin Hayeses of the world.
Yeah. Barkley isn't even getting first team reps on red zone plays. Good luck, Philly. That's coming from Mikey.
Barkley, how far down the redraft fantasy board do you think Barkley falls?
I think Barkley gets picked in the second round.
Me too. If you get him in the fourth, that's a steal.
Nah,
if he falls that
Saquon
low,
Barkley is not going past the second round. And the only person who's not picking him is a guy like Mike.
Giants fans. We have so many Giants fans in our league that he's gonna fall down a couple tiers if they stick to their guns, right, and feel how they feel right now. No, but you know what? You know what happens on draft day. You know what happens on draft day. They make that pick of the guy that they were bashing the whole time. It's like, come on, bro, best available. Like, I'm playing the board, bro. I'm playing the board.
You can't get better value.
I'm playing the board, bro. Who's going to be the first Giant to draft Saquon Barkley this year? That's going to be a great storyline, like, as far as the inner circle goes. Anybody else got something in there? Since they're not coming up in here.
Barkley is late second round from Rick.
Yeah, absolutely. And unless you got a bunch of Barkley haters in your league, like, that's where he's going to get picked, and he's going to thrive. You know, if you go wide receiver in the first round and you come back around and you get Barkley in round 2, you know, you get Sun God and Barkley, that combination, you doing some damage. You know, speaking of running backs, another guy that I think is pure league winner, bro, it's Kyren Williams, man. Like, sorry. I know the track record, I know the history, but, bro, it's Kyren freaking Williams. He's going to go out there. He's going to eat. He's going to eat. He's going to eat.
He'll be a second-round pick.
Blake Corum is potentially the best handcuff to possibly have because he's going to get his touches too. But as long as Kyren Williams is healthy this year, it's going to be the Kyren Williams show, and there's going to be nothing that you can do about it. And you're going to get your fantasy points, and you won't have
Mikey,
to worry about
won't be
spending.
me and waste of a pick. Talking about Barkley.
I'll be drafting Barkley. I know that offensive system, and I think they're going to be relying on him a lot because I'm not sold on Jalen Hurts. I want Jalen Hurts to throw less.
I'm waiting for a Philly Giants bet.
If the Eagles
Singletary versus Barkley.
If the Eagles are smart, you want Jalen Hurts to throw the ball less until he can figure out how to read those coverages and not throw into double and triple coverage because you want to force the ball to Twitter fingers AJ.
I'll always pick AJ.
You know, like, he's AJ Brown, hell of a player. I mean, you look at, like, what are they even going to look like after the historic collapse that they had last year? You know, is that enough to, like, when you get knocked down like that, is that enough for you to come out and respond?
I don't know.
Or do they come out with, like, another flat performance?
It's up to Kellen Moore. We'll see. I mean, fantasy-wise, they're loaded.
Yes.
They really are.
Yes.
You know, Devontae
Everyone's
Smith,
going to have parts
Dallas
of that
Goedert,
offense.
AJ Brown, Saquon, you know, and where Jalen Hurts, you know, looks normal, his fantasy numbers are good because he's a running quarterback. So that's why he can have a bad day passing, but if he rushes for 2 touchdowns and gets 70 yards on the ground, you're getting decent production still.
Yeah, that's one thing I wrote down. The quarterbacks that can run are the fantasy-proof quarterbacks that they don't need to have the epic passing performance because they're going to make up with it with the extra carries. You're getting extra touches on top of the fact that he's always got the ball in his hands and he's throwing.
And I also, like, you know, I talk about quarterbacks. Like, Lamar Jackson should have another very good year. And I think Burrow's going to have a good fantasy year, but they're going to be throwing the football a lot. A lot. We're going to see with Chase Brown, and I got my sleeper pick in Zach Moss that I think he can have a good year with the Bengals.
You know, Chase is my guy. I got him in Dynasty. I think both are going to get used. Both are going to be needed when you think about, you know,
I think
Tyler
their
Boyd not being there.
Defensively, the Bengals are going to be a little challenged still. You know, you still got Hendrickson who's not practicing and Chase who still isn't practicing. Of course, they're going to have to end up playing, but that's also going to limit your reps. And they still truly haven't fixed the safety situation. So
I think right now I've got the Bengals in the category of they're going to struggle throughout the season, but late I can see them making a push, getting a wild card. It's like I could like they have the potential to be hot going into the playoffs, but I don't expect the Bengals to look good playing football each and every week.
I see the Ravens cruising and then they're doing their usual
just choke job.
Yep,
epic. Baltimore choke job.
Some sports analysts compared the Ravens to the Sixers.
Lamar Jackson and the Ravens take the 1 seed, and then Mahomes goes in there and just beats them again.
And the bad part is we can see that happening.
Just beats them.
I forget who it was, but one of the analysts said the Ravens are the Sixers of the NFL.
That's tough, man. Even with the chips, that's tough. There's been a lot of years, man, where they win a lot of football games, and he's, best record in football, can't save you from shit.
Another overhype for me is Aaron Jones.
I'm fading him, and he might do well because I'm fading him this year. But last 2 years, I've dealt with the no shows with him, and it cost me dearly because I'm taking this guy in the 4th round, 5th round.
When I got cocky last year in Gridiron and picked running back,
in a 2-quarterback league, that's very crazy.
Yeah.
That's another. What's your favorite format out there? Like, what do you guys like to rock? You're watching along. Like, what format do you prefer? 2 quarterback, 2 flex? Like, do you run 3 wide receivers, 1 quarterback? Like, what is your preference? Like, I'm used to the 2 quarterback. I love playing that way, but with the introduction of sick picks and that format with having the 2 flexes, I kind of like that style too, because at the top of the draft, when you really want to talk about best available, like you're trying to make those flex spots as strong as you can possibly make them without compromising your running back 2, your wide receiver 2.
Chris said he's staying away from Jones if he can.
I think I am too. Just bad experience last 2 years, and I don't want to go barking up that tree this year. I'm going to try to.
I've got another overvalue for you. You might agree with me, but you might not. I think you are going to agree with me. Overvalue Deebo Samuel.
He's a polarizing, interesting character because I'll be on the board. It'll be my turn to pick. His name will be there, and I might pass up on it depending on what's going on. There's a lot of guys that I like.
I knew
before
this
him.
would make you think.
There's a lot of guys that I like ahead of Deebo Samuel, but I also
there's not
understand
many guys you like after Deebo Samuel.
It's just once you get to his name, you look around at what's going on, and you also say to yourself, like, he's kind of the perfect value pick. Because he's going to fall down the board no matter what. And he's still going to get rushes, guys. Newsflash, he's going to get rushes. It's because CMC is there. If you watch San Francisco 49ers football, Deebo gets the ball. He gets, what did they call it? Designed touches. That's the phrase they use.
He gets at least 3 to 5 carries a game. Yeah. And he gets targeted at least 6 to 7 times a game.
He can house one. He's fast enough to do it. They could be doing that with A.J. Brown right now. He's fast enough to do that.
You're 100% correct.
A run.
You're 100%.
They're the same build. AJ Brown is younger. I guess I don't know, healthier because he's got already 3 knee surgeries under his belt. So, but they're like the same mold as him and Deebo. Maybe Metcalf to an extent. Yeah, I feel like Metcalf is more like Deebo's good.
I feel like Deebo's being overvalued. And if Ayuk was to get traded, and it makes Deebo number 1, I think that hurts Deebo being the number 1 wideout.
Exposes him. Who was the wide receiver of theirs that got hurt recently?
The rookie, I think, right? Purcell?
Was it Purcell already?
I think that's what they were saying.
My Jawan Jennings stock is not looking too bad right now. You throw a little trade, put him on the trade block, and but there's potential for Ayuk to not be there, and laugh now, but Jawan Jennings could end up being wide receiver 2 in a month. Because who else is it? Let's rely on the rookies. Let's make the rookie the wide receiver 2. This isn't a situation like Chicago where you've got
sounded like they want to do that.
Is he ready though?
But we'll see. I also saw a video of Ayuk on the practice field today and shaking the hands of Lynch. and Shanahan real excitingly. So
Yeah.
maybe he got his contract, or maybe it's in the final stages.
Or maybe they have a trade in the works. 49ers were waiting until the right offer was presented to them. They weren't just going to,
If they don't
ship him
re-sign
out.
him, they're going to lose him. He's gone.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. He's gone.
I know, you're just waiting.
You see what happened to Cordell Patterson, bro. I have no clue, and that's my team. I know he's hurt.
I saw that Roman Wilson got hurt. Past 2 days of practice have been the last scuffles.
I put my head down and just said, damn.
Titans and Steelers.
I thought he was lost for the year, but they said that he should be back by next week.
Titans and Steelers at training camp throwing punches.
Listen, the days of Matt Cannon are over. It's time to get tough. We need a new attitude, and I like it. The last 2 years, teams have taken cheap shots on our quarterback, and the linemen haven't done nothing. They haven't gone to lift them up. So now, I see this, and I got excited. It's like, okay, we got a little pride here.
You guys really just got to be careful with the throwing punches at people with helmets on. That's
all football
my
players.
players breaking their hands at practice because they wanted to punch their teammate who had his helmet on that's a tough way.
I have no idea.
That's a tough way to put yourself at the bottom of the division with key guys in a scrum.
Yeah, I'll never understand a football player swinging at another football player.
Today was somebody took a shot at Justin Fields over for you guys, right?
Yeah.
It was somebody took their liberties.
Patrick Queen. No, Landon Roberts.
That was a little bit of a scuffle that ensued.
They interviewed Roberts too today, and he was just like, well, I guess I could stop going after late at the quarterback. He goes, it's just nice to see them fired up.
He's one of my sleepers. I talked about it before. I mentioned it before. You know him. You love him. You know him well, actually. None other than Deontay Johnson with the Carolina Panthers. Target machine for the young Bryce Young. I'm not saying this football team is going to be great, but to finally give him a credible target machine and a PPR machine at that, when you're talking about fantasy football and drafting, like, where are you getting Deontay Johnson these days? You're not spending the high draft pick for him. You're getting him in the middle rounds after you've already got your top receivers. Deontay Johnson could potentially be that draft pick you make where he's sitting on your bench and you're looking every week and you're like, damn, this guy's giving me 19, 21, 22. Like,
he's having a case of the dropsies, though.
Like,
I've seen him drop a couple touchdown passes in practice.
Yeah, and Deontay drops in. He's there. He's alive and well. He's that same person. But when we talk about filling in those flex spots on a week in and week out basis, I'd rather have a Deontay Johnson in that flex spot than a Jerome Ford, and just be playing that game. I don't want to do hope. I want production.
Is Jerome Ford the starting running back of the Cleveland Browns?
I don't know. Chubb is out there pressing 500 already.
But he's not on the field.
Deontay Foreman is there, and we know that everywhere Deontay Foreman goes, like, he does well.
He takes carries.
Like, he runs the shit out of the ball everywhere he goes. So,
I feel like Deontay Foreman's probably going to be a goal line back. I think he's going to get the work in, like, 20 to goal line. But I think for the 20 to 20, I think Ford's going to get the majority carries. And Ford showed he had some explosiveness to his game. I will say that. He had a couple long touchdowns and a couple long runs.
The run he had.
But again, with Cleveland, it's all about who I think teams. I think there's going to be a lot of people talking about my sleeper, Deshaun Watson.
Keep sleeping, pal.
Yeah.
I'm good. You can have him. I'm good.
He's only starting still because of how much they guaranteed his paycheck.
You want to talk about projections? I haven't seen that guy do shit in 3 years.
And then the other day talking, I've been through a lot the last 3 years from the media. I'm thinking to myself, what? Like, you have no remorse, no accountability for the situations that you put yourself in.
I will walk up to the board and fade him, draft somebody else.
I'm not picking him.
I'm good on that. I'll take one of the young boys. Give me Will Levis all day. Give me somebody with some rushing upside. I don't want that because dude can't stay healthy either.
I take Aiden O'Connell before I take him.
Oof, that's crazy. That's freaking insane. Chris, say anything over there?
No. Just the last comment is about Patterson.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the hell happened with him. Hopefully he's good. If not, then hey, more touches for Warren, I guess, at this point. But yeah, I like Deontay Johnson. Another guy that I think could potentially be a sleeper. We mentioned Keon Coleman. Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon's a guy that I truly think that he's in a situation with Jonathan Taylor that, like, let's face it, the injury history precedes him, and he's going to miss a couple of weeks. But the culture of football team that they're going to try to run the ball effective no matter who's there. And I think that Trey Sermon right now, who's looking like he's the number 2 in Indy, is going to benefit from potentially being the starter for a couple weeks this year. You know, because JT's at that point, kind of like Henry, where it's like they need those maintenance weeks. And Trey Sermon's going to be that next guy in line. Colts are usually a good run football team. You know, they're going to try to run that type of a high-tempo offense with Anthony Richardson healthy. I think JT's going to have a big year, but I think that Trey Sermon's going to benefit from that as well. Like, they're going to be able to run the ball effectively. And I got Cade Otton, too. I like Cade Otton, tight end from Tampa Bay.
I have Pat Freiermuth as a sleeper.
Pat Freiermuth?
I think contract year, he has a big bounce back year. Especially in that system. Arthur Smith loves his tight ends.
I got a sleeper for you. This one's just for you. Van Jefferson. Who, people don't know it. People don't know it, but he's the wide receiver 2 right now on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And when Danger Russ is launching the ball downfield and you're looking at your phone thinking to yourself, oh, that's a bomb to Pickens. No, it was Van Jefferson that caught that touchdown. And it might not help you, but if I hold on to him on my bench long enough, I might have myself a sneaky little Steelers stack with Jefferson and Russ and potentially do a little bit of damage.
I don't know. I don't know who's going to be wide receiver 2 still.
He's a sleeper, bro. I think he's a sleeper. It's kind of similar to the Deontay Johnson thing. It's like those targets are going to be there for you. You're going to get them. Calvin Austin, we don't know if he's ready. Did I put Calvin Austin in my sleeper? No. I held on to him in Dynasty because I paid a pretty penny for Calvin Austin.
That had to be last year.
I got him last year. I held on to him. I'm just waiting to see what he's going to be able to do, you know, like, but he's kind of been giving me like kick returner type of vibes. I kind of want to see like on the field.
The problem with him is he had no quarterback last year. And like I continue to say, I really believe Russell Wilson's going to have a good season. I truly see it. The guy looks like he's focused on football.
And Jonathan Mingo, reports are coming out of Carolina that he is impressing. Like, it looks like in the second year, he's out there doing kind of what people expected. Because we talk about this hype talk going into the season. Jonathan Mingo had some hype going into, you know, Carolina. Like, we were already talking about him potentially being the primary target last year, and we didn't even know what the hell their offensive line looked like.
Remember, we thought everybody was hyping up Terrence
Marshall.
Yeah,
he's still there. He's still there.
Everybody was hyping him up.
But now you think about it. You got
wide receiver 1 last year.
You got Deontay Johnson. You got Adam Thielen. You got Mingo. You got
Adam Thielen should have a good season.
It's not bad. Like, it's not the worst situation.
Adam Thielen should have a good season because with all of Deontay Johnson's drops, he's still going to command one-on-one and sometimes double teams because of the separation he can get. So Thielen or Marshall or Mingo, one of those 3 should be able to take advantage of that situation.
Yeah, I agree. Do we trust Travis Kelce this year? Where's he
only
at?
In the playoffs?
Like the real playoffs?
Yeah.
Okay, so in fantasy, that's a no. That's a fade.
I think Kelce, you know, come at me, guys. He's a future Hall of Famer.
Yes.
He's one of the greatest of all time. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Yep. But he's tight end 9, maybe tight end 10. I can name 5 tight ends I'd pick before him.
And again, all credit to what they did in the playoffs. We're talking about fantasy football, though. Like in fantasy football, they burned a lot of people
Laporta
this past year.
I mean, Mark Andrews is still viable because Lamar Jackson's still the quarterback.
Yeah, I'll take Mark over.
Kyle Pitts is going to have a big year.
Your money, boy.
I think the rookie in Vegas is going to have a good year.
Who?
Brock Bowers.
Brock. Maybe we see the Michael Mayer, 2 tight end. They're going to try to run the rock.
I would take Cole Kmet before I took Travis Kelce, even though I just, said he was being overvalued.
They
might be the same guy.
They're the same part of the pool. Like I feel like when I had to think about it myself, I was like, would I
Kittle is right there too with Kelce.
Yeah. Noli tried to offer me Kittle for Andrews. I said no.
Trey McBride.
Trey McBride could potentially be tight end 1 this year after all is said and done.
David Njoku, who finally put it together after all these years.
Consistent.
Dalton Schultz with CJ Stroud and company. With all them weapons, Schultz is going to be eating underneath.
Jake Ferguson.
I can name, see, this is what I mean. I'd rather have those guys before I pick Kelce or Kittle. And I know that's crazy to some people understand, but you got to understand. The production isn't always there.
A guy by the name of Cade Otton out in Tampa Bay that is part of a team that's going to throw the ball and spread the football and is going to get some nice, targets thrown his way because the Bucs are still going to be in a position where the Bucs can win the South again next year, or be competing against Atlanta and New Orleans. Bucs are more or less the same football team with the same guys that they re-signed and a serviceable Baker Mayfield that can get them in the playoffs and get you some fantasy points. It ain't the worst thing in the world to have, pieces of the Bucs offense. It ain't so bad. Baker Mayfield at that QB2 spot could save you a couple weeks. There are worse options out there.
Kittle was a ghost till Purdy started for them.
Yeah.
Well, no, because he was a ghost because he was also on the line, too, for a long time.
That was annoying. Especially when you think about
Kittle was tight end 5 young, bro. Only thing stopping him is age and injury. Other than that, he's easily a top tight end. I would take Kittle before I took Kelce. Travis Kelce did not have a good season last year until the playoffs started.
The Mahomes-Kelce stack was an expensive stack to make in redraft, too. You're talking about a first and a third, in redraft. To put those two together.
Mahomes, period, had a bad year.
If you're drafting at the back end, you're in that I'm drafting Travis Kelce in the first round territory. Like
I did.
You're taking him and then you're going in the second round. And
I picked Kelce first, then I picked Nick Chubb, then I picked Aaron Jones, and then I picked Jonathan Taylor. That should tell you how my year went.
That the next man up for that squad was crazy, man. When your top 4 to 5 draft picks all go down, you can't do shit. You can't trade yourself out of that because guess what? Your best players are the hurt ones. There's nothing you could really do.
Mikey says that Mahomes is hitting on all cylinders. Kelce's an easy top 10, 1 through 3. I still think there's 3 tight ends I take before him.
I think, I don't know, man. How do we consider the Chiefs an explosive offense? Because we're talking fantasy. We want explosive plays.
Their receivers aren't explosive. Rashid Rice isn't even a fast receiver. He's a good receiver.
Pacheco's the most explosive.
MVS is so inconsistent. Xavier Worthy, are starting to say that he's having flaws and can't. The most consistent piece, yes, is Vineland's Isaiah Pacheco.
I think that he is the most vital piece to that offense this year as far as moving the chains. Because outside of him, that explosiveness just isn't out there. There's the Mahomes to Kelce connection when it's working. hoping that one of the other wide receivers that Pat Mahomes puts the ball in his hands and he doesn't screw it up. Because Mahomes, you could see the frustration last year. We saw it all year long, where he's just looking at these guys. He's like, "Are you freaking kidding me? Like, working my ass off, trying to like, we're getting beat."
And that's why I also believe, and I'll continue to say it, they're not three-peating.
A team on the AFC side has to prove that they're like mature enough to, because you know it's going to come down. Like, if the Chiefs don't make it, it's because someone beat them in order to get there.
That's another
Like,
team
all
that's
paths lead
relatively
to
been
the
healthy
Chiefs.
during this whole run.
Who?
The Chiefs. What major injury have they had to deal with during this entire run? They have had unbelievable luck.
Well, do you think that their world would fall apart if Travis Kelce got hurt? I think that the Chiefs could still kind of be the Chiefs without him, because they kind of did it last year. Like,
I think
they figured it out.
if they lose a guy like Chris Jones, shit's going to get ugly. We saw how quickly the Chiefs didn't want to give in to Chris Jones' demands. The Lions went in there. Jameer Gibbs and Dave Montgomery ran all over the Chiefs. The next day, Chris Jones had a brand new contract sitting there for him.
Yeah. You're absolutely right about that. And let's not forget, they lost Ladarius Sneed. Sneed on the Chiefs last year did not allow a touchdown. He was locked down, like lockdown corner. And the best
I'm not saying they're going to be a bad team. I just don't see them winning the Super Bowl this year.
I see them.
And I've picked them to win the Super Bowl the last 4 years.
I see the Chiefs winning their division and hosting the AFC title game and potentially going back to the Super Bowl. Because like somebody on the AFC side has
they're
to
either going to
mature
lose the
enough.
AFC title game or they're going to lose in the Super Bowl.
Baltimore can't host the AFC title game because they'll lose it. They won't be able to get to the Super Bowl if the road leads to Baltimore.
And who's to say this year? My prediction: the Lions, and the Chiefs in the big game, and it's the Lions.
Or if it's the Jets in the AFC title game,
they got a defense.
what if they do it? Can you imagine?
The Dolphins could beat them, but the Dolphins need to play them in Miami.
You don't think there'll be like another miracle in the Meadowlands? That's going to be a pretty good division. If the Patriots are decent, we're looking at a really good race. I don't think the Chiefs' defense
is going to be as great as everybody thinks they're going to be again.
Well, their defense was
losing
the reason.
Sneed's a big piece.
He didn't allow a touchdown last year. And he's going up against the wide receiver ones, everybody's wide receiver ones, every week.
Can't keep plugging and playing.
Like, that's crazy as hell. At probably the most difficult position to play.
Teams need to just stop doing this whole bullshit. You know what it is? Teams are doing the Tom Brady mistake thing when they play. I'm like, oh, you're already going in there like you lost. And I think too many teams go into that stadium just like they used to go into Foxborough, saying,
ready to punch them in the mouth.
Yeah,
cut their heads off. That's the nature of the beast of the playoffs. You can't. That's the thing. Like, which AFC team is going to be the most prepared? Like, which AFC team is going to be the most prepared, the most focused? Like, think about who you're sending out there. Josh Allen has his weird moments. Lamar Jackson, those are well documented. Joe Burrow beat Mahomes. But he lost to Mahomes as well. You know what I mean? So it's not a foolproof thing, but he can at least say, I beat him and I got to the Super Bowl through him. But like, I don't even think the Bengals are going to have a good year.
I think Miami could do it if Miami's in Miami.
Against the Chiefs?
Yeah, but they got to be in Miami. If it's in Kansas City, it's not happening.
So we're talking about Miami being the 1 seed.
They have the potential to do it.
You think the Miami Dolphins can take the 1 seed this year?
Jesus, the lights just went out in WCW Light. What the hell?
All right, so I'm gonna say that one of the spoilers for when we break down that division is you got Miami taking that division and potentially as the 1 or the 2 seed in your rebooking. I know your pop's gonna be happy. He's gonna love it.
I think they're a good team still, man. And they better be, especially with Tua's new contract.
I mean, we already know how potent the stack is, and the stack is coming back this year. You got Jalen Waddle, you got Devon A-Chain, a celebrity among us. You got Raheem Mostert. And you know what? We talk about undervalued pieces. Jonnu Smith as their tight end is a sneaky move.
He can eat in that system.
He's a beast.
He can eat in that system. A lot of eyes are going to be on the receivers.
Always.
If Tua takes what's there, Jonnu can eat.
There was nobody like that to throw to underneath when you had this, Tua.
Buffalo's not ever going to beat the Chiefs.
No. They're going to do it. It's like,
Wow.
They'll beat them in the regular season.
Yeah.
But when it matters,
you can beat the Chiefs in the regular season. They're beatable.
Sorry, your boy Miguel's taking an L on that one. He shouldn't even look forward to playoff games between the two.
I don't think he looks forward to playing when they play the Chiefs. I think he's excited for Bills football right now. Like, he's excited for Bills football. He's sick about the Phillies, so he's ready for football. I think like a lot of Phillies fans are ready to see the Eagles, most of them.
Mikey put A-Chain a star.
A-Chain is a star, bro. A-Chain is going to be a top 10 running back in fantasy
The Miami
football.
Dolphins offense is going to be a top 5 scoring offense.
You don't even need Mostert to get hurt. You just got to be a part of that offense.
If Bradley Chubb can come back and be 80% Bradley Chubb, that defense will be very good.
Yeah. We want pieces of the Miami Dolphin offense. That's not an offense that we're running away from.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know what the Patriots offense is.
Ugh.
Jets offense.
You don't know what you're getting with Aaron Rodgers.
You don't know who's going to be there. And it's not just him. I love Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall is another league winner, but Breece Hall just is coming back from a really serious injury. Like, we don't know who's going to be there. This Jets team could go 8-9. Miss the playoffs on the last week of the season. On some woozy-wazzy type shit.
Chris put Hubbard equals star.
Well, from what I'm hearing, Miles Sanders is looking great out in training camp. So we're talking about Hubbard potentially being the running back 3 when the kid Brooks is back.
They paid Miles, so Miles is going to get – this is what everybody needs to understand. Carolina paid Miles Sanders, so he's going to get every chance possible.
And they drafted
to get those touches.
They drafted arguably the best running back prospect out of the draft with Jonathan Brooks, on top of paying Miles Sanders.
Yes.
So, as far as the pecking order goes, you get a couple good weeks. You get a Khalil Shakir type week in September, and then you just move on. Take your week when you can get it. Hopefully, you start the person on the right day, and you just move on.
You know who else I think is going to have a bad year this year?
Who?
Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence.
We already saw it. We saw what that could potentially look like this year. I could see Etienne having a great year and Trevor Lawrence having a bad year. Because Etienne is going to be the reliable piece of the offense that can actually move the chains. It will not be
That's
Trevor
a guy.
Lawrence.
He's an RB1. That's a guy you grab.
Yeah.
You can grab, if he's there in the first round, a later half, he's available like on the double whammy, on the double turn.
I'm sold on Etienne.
You grab him.
I think Etienne has a good year. And we're like, not for nothing, but Dougie P, how long before that seat starts to get a little bit hot? Because this division is slipping out of your hands. Things are changing. All the teams are changing. It happened fast.
Right now it belongs to Houston.
They have to win it. They have to actually win it. They won it last year, right?
Yep.
They took it. So they won it last year. They're coming in as a division champ. So it goes through Houston.
On paper right now, Houston has the best team in the South.
Yep.
And the best quarterback right now in the South. If he continues what he did last year,
and they can win the division again, but they can also be scary for fantasy football because kind of like what I was saying earlier with the rookie wide receivers, you're going to have to pick one of those 3 Houston wide receivers.
Your favorite time of the year is back.
That they're the one that hits. Like if you pick Tank Dell, you're hoping Tank Dell's eating every single week, but some weeks might not be his week. You got to be in the right place at the right time, I feel like, with that offense. And then
you're right.
In the games where somebody's playing Houston and they're bleeding the clock and the Houston offense is on the sidelines and now your guys aren't getting on the field and you're looking at the score and you're just like, oh, man, like I have too many of this team's players. My stack
I remember I was beating somebody before, and I lost. It was a tight game, and I lost because of the dropbacks by the quarterback for taking the knees.
That's happened. The scenario I just gave is why I don't like having the quarterback, running back, wide receiver stack all starting at the same time. I don't want that many people that I'm depending on that one game with that much star power.
I've had that before, and it sucks.
You can get the points fast if some shit happens. Like you can get the points, you can get the bonuses like in our leagues, but then there's the leagues where the other team decides to have a 13-minute drive, and bro, your opponent, all his guys are in the red zone, and you're just like, oh no,
work with me on that.
Work with me. Now you're counting down the clock. You're saying to yourself, "Oh, we still got 10 minutes," but the time is already up. The time's already up.
I won't disagree with you on that.
And it's in our leagues with the bonuses, it's bombs away, because once those bonuses hit and you're down to that guy who like they got Tyreek Hill going off and they got A-Chain going off, like,
I know.
And you're just hoping your guys get started.
1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Yep. Next week starts the division breakdowns. Since this year we're not doing live drafts like we did last year.
Yep.
We're going back to where
we got them done.
We're gonna go back to our old school format.
Yeah, we got them done. We might do like one of the rookie drafts for the Dynasty League live on the pod, like moving forward, but we don't have to worry about that right now. Everything's booked. Everything is where it needs to be. And now we get back to the portion of the season where it's time to
next 5 weeks, man. We got next 4 weeks for the rest of the month, which is just 4 Wednesdays in this month. We're going to break down every division from both conferences at the same time. And then September 4th is our playoffs, the Super Bowl prediction. And September 5th is football. September 6th is football. September 8th and September 9th. All NFL.
We've already talked about some candidates that could potentially make the grand finale episode for the playoffs and predictions, but I got a couple weeks to figure this out as far as what my playoff picture is going to look like.
Yeah. We just give our records and all that for the time being.
So what are we starting with next week?
What do you think we should start with?
You want to just go?
You want to go west?
You
want to do the West?
NFC West, AFC West?
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
We'll do AFC, NFC West next week.
There's a lot of good teams.
Then we can do the following week. We'll do the
South.
More
Chargers, talk more Chiefs.
We'll do the South. Then we'll do the North, and we're going to save the East for last.
All right, we'll do the East at the end.
The East will be the last.
It's been a couple years since we did the East last. Sometimes, I feel like last couple years we got it,
first and out of the way, because now this year we're gonna make you wait even longer, so that we can spend 3 more extra weeks making fun of Danny Dimes and the Giants.
Don't make me have to talk about the Giants when I don't want to talk about them. I'd rather save it for the podcast, and just don't make me talk about them more than I need to. Just don't bring them up. I'll try to do my best not to bring it up unless I like to provide thought-provoking insight based on our conversations, which is why I posted what I posted about training camp earlier. But,
no, they just saw it as a shot.
Giants fans took over the leagues, man. We're surrounded by Giants fans, dude.
Yes, we are.
We are absolutely surrounded by Giants fans. So we're going to get to see all of this play out, like right before our eyes. Whatever happens with their storyline moving forward, we're gonna be here when Barkley plays the Giants.
Pretty sure Mikey's gonna be here for the last Wednesday of the month. I'm pretty sure he'll work that out to make sure he's here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I'll be here most likely for the playoff one too.
And before we go today, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget this Saturday at 5 p.m., we're going live off of our normal stream. Facebook, YouTube. Mike's going to be in the house with me. And I'm probably going to have it set up a little differently. But we're going to have Jose Soto in this building to discuss his upcoming fight at Cage Fury on August 16th. So we are looking forward to that this Saturday at 5 o'clock.
I'm excited.
Do not worry. I'm going to be reposting and reminding everyone for the next 3 days. Even the morning of, I'm going to just propaganda everywhere.
Getting a bonus show, basically a bonus podcast this week with a special guest, a very special guest, who's going to be able to give their own testimony.
Millville's own. He's getting, he's going to make his pro debut for Cage Fury. It's going to be amazing. Man. He's going to be here to talk the journey. We're going to get his insight from training to his early days in Millville High as a wrestler. We're getting everything, all access. And if you're watching and you have a question, we are going to do our best to get him to answer it before the podcast is over.
Something a little different, man. Venturing out, excited, man. Excited to have a special guest on the pod. Excited to see it. I'm going to be, at work, but I'm going to be tuned in. I'm going to watch it again once I get home. Share it all over. Share it if you can. Be a part of it. If you got anything, you don't got anything going on Saturday, kick back with us. Or if you're outside on the deck having a beer, just
everybody should be home that I know of should be home at that time because SummerSlam starts at 7.
There you go.
So y'all should be home already.
This will be
Get ready to watch your wrestling.
This will be the pre-show.
Instead of watching Michael Cole and Pat McAfee tell you why Cody's winning, pay attention to us so we can tell you why Jose Soto is winning.
That's right. On the Money Sports. This Saturday, 5 o'clock. Tune in. Make sure that you're there for the pod. And, I'll be back next week for next week's podcast when we're breaking down the divisions. But you're getting extra on the Money Sports. You're getting, a hometown hero, a young athlete getting ready to make his pro debut. You never know what can happen. You really never know what can happen. It's very special. I'm happy that Old Money was able to put this together to add another layer to what we're trying to do moving forward as far as the podcast and the entertainment that we're trying to provide for you guys. So I'm excited, man. It's going to be a good week, a big week.
I'm stoked.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Make sure
it's going to be fun.
Tune in next week as we start breaking down the divisions. We got football tomorrow, so a lot of the players that could be making the cut might be able to do it if they perform well, and some guys you'll probably never see again, but you will see us again. You will see this podcast again, and we are doing the predictions episodes again leading up to our Super Bowl playoff predictions, which, after that, the only thing left to do is get together on Sundays and actually watch the football.
When's the Sick Picks draft?
August 25th. August 25th.
What is that?
At 12. What do you mean?
A Saturday?
Or a Sunday? I requested off for it. I don't remember. I think it's a
Sunday, August 25th.
Yep. Because we have Noli's draft that same later that day, from 5 to 6 o'clock around that time is when Noli's draft starts. So yeah,
good to know.
Yeah, the dates are booked. Drafts are going to be happening. Boards are going to be posted soon enough, and football is going to be played. As far as this podcast, I hope that it was enjoyed by you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for following along, talking with us, talking some fantasy football. Next week, we get into our real hot takes as far as what we think is going to go down, starting with the NFC and AFC West. Until then, make sure you tune in on Saturday for the special edition of On the Money podcast, and be safe. Catch you guys in the forum. Peace.
And I'll see you guys Saturday. Till then.